Alright guys, I am back, and it's time for both the second and last figure review of the day, and also for the final review from my Japan shopping haul. So yeah, in this video, we're taking a look at this Destoroyah figure. So yeah, let's get started. So, this is the S.H.MonsterArts Destoroyah from Bandai. So of course, let's have a quick look at the box. So we got some cool window packaging right here that shows the figure inside. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Of course, we got a pretty cool shot right here of Destoroyah right there, looking very fierce, looking pretty cool. There's the price I picked it up for. Bandai, Destoroyah, S.H.MonsterArts. Gives you like a review of the figure. Looking pretty cool. Here's the other side. We got more window packaging. You can see more of the figure right there. S.H.MonsterArts, Destoroyah right here. It's like shiny wording right here. Looking very nice. Here's the back. We got some more product shots and some cool display options with Godzilla's face right there, looking very nice. Looks pretty cool. Of course, there's a write-up, which I can't read most of, but yeah. Of course, we got a poster for Godzilla versus Destoroyah right there. Looking pretty nice. Of course, here's the other side. S.H.MonsterArts. Got another cool product shot of the figure right here. Destoroyah. There it is written in katakana. And of course, we got like a shot of like Destoroyah's body right here. Looking very nice. Here's the top. Got like the Destoroyah symbol that looks similar to the Batman symbol. Looks pretty cool. Destoroyah. There's right there again. S.H.MonsterArts. And then finally, here's the bottom. S.H.MonsterArts. Destoroyah in katakana. And yeah, so now let's get this thing open and take a look at the figure. Alright guys, so here is Destoroyah out of the box and fully assembled. I had to attach on the tail in the back. Yeah, also, I'm a little pissed right now because as I was getting this figure out of the packaging, some parts kept popping off, and at first I had a bit of a hard time getting them back on, but, well, I got it fully back assembled now, so yeah, let's just get started. So first I want to take a look at the detail and everything. So first, starting with the head sculpt. It looks very good. First off, we got the horn right here. Looks like it's made from translucent plastic. Looking pretty cool. Looking just like the way it does in the movie. Of course, we got the face itself with like the black and the red. It's very well done. Awesome sculpt and detail. Very nice paint applications. Of course, we've got these like tooth-like things on the side of the mouth, which look pretty cool. And of course, the teeth. And the inside side of the mouth, the tongue. Looks very nice. And of course, we do have the eyes. Now, for some reason, they painted the eyes like completely black, even though, of course, in the movie, the eyes are yellow. Same with on the box. His eyes are yellow in the box and in the movie. So I wonder why they painted them all black exactly. Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and I really like these like side things right here. They look just like the way they do in the movie. Looking pretty cool. Of course, from the neck down, of course, this thing in the chest area looks very nice. Of course, these spikes on the shoulders and on the arms. The claws, they look very nice. Same with the spikes and the toenails on the legs and on the feet. They look very nice. Same with the wings. The wings look very nice, even those smaller looking wings right there. Looking pretty cool. Of course, here's the back. Got all these spikes right here. Looking very nice. The black and the red. They really go well together. And of course the tail, it's very long. And it's got these like pinching things at the end, just like in the movie. Looks very nice. Awesome sculpt and detail throughout. And yeah, so now let's talk about articulation. Now, before we talk about articulation, this is also where I need to address this too, about like when I said that like things were popping off this figure as I was trying to get it out. When articulating the figure, do be very careful, because I don't know if it's just with my figure, but this figure is more fragile than it looks. And if you're not careful when trying to pose it, things will pop off. Not break off, but just pop off. And so, yeah, just be very careful when you're articulating this figure. So for articulation, the head can move up and down about this much. And it can move side to side about this much. And as you saw when looking at sculpt in detail, the mouth can open up about that much, looking very nice. The neck cannot really move. It can only move about that much. The shoulders can move about this much, about that much, but do be careful. The arms, well, the arms, when you move the arms, it kind of moves the shoulders too. But the arms can move about this much, give or take. Of course, they can also bend at the elbows about this much. And the hands can move quite a bit, at least this much. It looks like they're on like some kind of a ball joint maybe, as you can see. Like, yeah. And the legs can move only about this much, only like swivel about that much. Can only bend at the knees about very little. And the feet, let's see. From what it looks like, I don't think the feet can move by themselves. Well, maybe they can, but I guess maybe I'm just too afraid to try to move them after what I was experiencing before starting the rest of the review. But yeah. Of course, the wings are articulated, but the wings, when you're like posing the wings, you really need to be careful, because that's where I experienced some of the problems. So the wings can move up and about like at right here this much, and they can like move like right here this much. And some parts of the wings right here can fold in and out like this, as you can see. Like, yeah. So like that. But again, do be careful. And these smaller like wings right here can move about that much, like so. And for the tail, let me adjust my camera. For the tail part, the tail, let's see. It can move, like, it can swivel about this much. This part of the tail moves a little more, as you can see. And the end of the tail can also move like that. I want to say the tail has a decent amount of articulation. This figure is like overall like less poseable than the Space Godzilla, but I don't know if I mind that or not, but it's still pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for articulation. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the review. So yeah. So overall, I think this figure is pretty great. It's just that if you ever get this figure, you just need to be very careful, you know, because again, I don't know if it's just my figure, but this figure is more fragile than it looks, so yeah. But yeah, I really like how heavy this figure feels and like how massive it is. And like how it's made and everything, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this is another figure that I highly recommend. And of course, for a quick figure comparison, here is Destoroyah with Space Godzilla. So as you can see, Destoroyah is bigger, even as a figure, because yeah, after all, Destoroyah is a massive kaiju. Even though, of course, these two like pretty much never saw each other, I'm sure Destoroyah was still bigger than Space Godzilla. But yeah, they're both pretty cool, and yeah, they will both look really cool when displayed together. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. What are your thoughts on this Destoroyah figure? Let me know in the comments down below. I really like it, Despite having a couple problems with it at first, it's still really good. I'm still glad I bought it, so yeah. Especially this one too. But anyways, guys, tell me your thoughts on this figure, or both these figures at the same time. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And I'll see you guys whenever I get more figures to review. So yeah, bye for now.